Brothers and sisters and friends, this afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. We have a fight that's common to all of us. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's Buddy to God.
Hey, and it's squeaky time.
Right on. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, March 10th, 2025. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning is happening right now. And it's a special 2-hour day today. So stay tuned for that. We have the Senators coming on this morning. A brand new Senators Cypher is happening. Yep. We've confirmed with Senator S-2B, Senator McKinney to come visit us today on the second hour. So lots of things to discuss on the first hour, and then we'll get into the Senator Cypher on the second hour. Hope that you stick with us. And please, let us know what's going on. Let us know what's happening this weekend for you, what you guys got into. And what bills you're looking at. It's going to be the topic of conversation when we speak to the senators on the second hour. So welcome to a special edition, First Sky Omaha in the morning, happening now.
Morning.
Man. Yes. I see Judy Printer getting up early with us and saying good morning, First Sky fam. Appreciate you coming on through. Yeah, let us know how YouTube, Facebook is working for you this morning. There's been a little bit of tech issues that I've had to deal with this morning, so just making sure everything's cool. I see Marlon Harrison coming in on YouTube. Good First Sky family. Appreciate you, man, coming on in. Morning to you. And how you doing this morning, buddy? What's going on with you?
Man, doing all right. Could have used a couple more winks. Had a pretty late session last night, but
okay.
Doing all right.
Anything to report from the session?
No.
Not really. All work, just work this time.
Yeah. It was some artist named Lil something. I don't know.
Little somebody.
I lost count of the Lils. But you know.
Life. Yeah, that's what's up. Well, I appreciate you being here this morning too. I know it's a little rougher on a Monday. On all of us. So but we love to get the week started off right, and lots to talk about this week. I appreciate everybody who commented and gave feedback on last week's shows. There was lots of chatter, lots of talk over the weekend about things that have been happening. But there's also been some, other things, some important meetings that went down over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So we'll definitely talk about that, and hopefully we'll get some of our fam on, First Sky Omaha fam, to come on and give us some reports about some of those things. Let us know if you've went to any of the forums that happened with the race. The mayoral forum happened this weekend, and also the Empowerment Network's meeting happened as well. So lots of things that's going down over the weekend for people who are trying to make some progress here in the city. And I love the fact that we usually have some chat chimers that have been a part of that. So look forward to those reports.
How you doing, man?
Oh, hanging in there. Same. Monday is always tough. And
Yeah.
it's always a very long day Monday, but for the most part, very, very busy weekend for me.
Mm-hmm.
So sliding on in, but doing okay and excited about some of the things that we're working on with First Sky Omaha, the candidates. We're getting ready to do some recording of the candidates and really get to know everybody who's running for the city this time around. So looking forward to that, just getting set up for those things. The weather got so much better this weekend. It's actually supposed to be 80 degrees today.
Really? After what, it just blizzard in last week?
Yeah, most definitely. So warmed up just that fast, and the weekend weather was beautiful. Gotta say, has definitely upped the spirits.
Okay.
To have some good weather happening. So
man, it's kind of cold and rainy on this side. So I'm glad your spirits are high.
Yeah, man.
No excuse not to get out there. Definitely want to know if anybody made it to that candidate forum.
Love to hear about
feedback.
We'll go ahead and jump into a little bit of community updates while we're talking about them already. Speaking of things that people have jumped into, did anybody go to this cash mob event that happened over at Ebony to Ivory Beauty Supplies? There was some reports on something going on over there with this sister and her business. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it because we got so deep into our discussion on last Friday. So we'll definitely talk about the sister who owns this company as well. There's already been some movement, as you can see. She had mentioned that some things were wrong. As a matter of fact, when I first saw it, a friend of ours named Elizabeth put a post out saying, I reached out to Ebony to Ivory Beauty Supply on 30th in Florence to see how we could support better. She informed that the Lees reached out to a couple of her suppliers and asked them
Man,
not to service her, and also told them that she was too close to mid K. So her competitors, some of the people in the community that have been serving the black community as far as hair care products for a long time, didn't like the fact that the sister started her own and really kind of touted this is the first black owned hair care store in Omaha. So
man,
a lot of people were supporting her, and her competition didn't like that, so they were applying some pressure. So it already started before we could even get going in the conversation. Man, Brother Sherman L. Wells went down there and
man.
talked to the sis, and some people did, and they just like that over the course of a couple of days. I put this join us for a cash mob thing together where everybody kind of went down there and supported her and bought supplies and all those things as well. So if you happen to be part of this cash mob, let us know. If you went down yesterday between 3 and 6 to the Bellevue store, I'd love to hear some reports on that. But we'll definitely be talking about that as we continue on the conversation today. There's a lot to it. Black
Yeah, man.
owned beauty supply store is not just an Omaha issue everywhere, bro. Every black community has a bunch of stores that are usually owned by Asian individuals in our community selling beauty supplies to us, and everybody in every city goes, well, how come we don't have any black owned businesses selling black owned hair products? Why not? What's that?
Yeah.
What's going on there? Here's somebody trying to do it and already run into some opposition. So if you've been a part of that story, please let us know. We would love to know if you went down to the cash mob or if you go down to her salon and support her or not. Love to know. Mama God in the chat, give us a good morning. Appreciate that very much.
Hey,
Yes. For those of you just joining us, don't forget second hour today. We're doing 2 hour day today. Senator
two of them.
two of them. Senator Cypher is happening. So we finally get the Senator Cypher going. We had to kind of change the hour so that we can match the hours that they needed because in the morning people be taking their kids to school and
Man,
driving
driving
up
to
to the
Lincoln.
legislature and all that, right?
Mhm.
Yep, for sure. So we'll definitely be talking about that. Also, don't forget there's another forum coming up. This is the one that we had the young brother on, Jaden, who's supposed to be hosting. They had to move the time because of the weather. The time now is March 12th, 2025. It's still going to be at the Assembly of the Saints, Omaha District 2 debate. So as you can see, they have the full lineup there, and we'll be able to talk to them again. So the debates and the forums are not over. There's still opportunity to meet these individuals face to face and ask the questions that you want to ask and so on and so forth. And this is one I highly encourage you check out as well. So as you can see, there's a QR code top right. Go ahead and hit that so you can register for this. We'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha again so that you can do it over there. And appreciate everybody who is supporting this. Shout out to Sherman Wells, Assembly of the Saints,
Man,
for the ballot and those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's
yeah.
really going for it, putting it together.
Candidates get to run it back.
Get to run it back for sure, for sure. So yeah, there's many more things happening. If you know of anything that's going on, please put it in the chat or put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. We'll definitely be talking about more of those things. But today we're definitely dedicating some of this time to continue the conversation
There you go.
with what we had. Miss Lakeisha Green came on last Friday, and y'all know that she is the ED over at Union for Contemporary Art, executive director. Has been embroiled in some controversy over there
Man,
because of some changes that she's made, and the community has been railing against it. Formed a union, and there's been a lot said. So after our conversation, of course, we got bombarded with comments and text messages and emails. There's been a lot of chatter over the situation, and I think it's worth continuing. Didn't really even get enough time with Miss Green on this subject. So we'll definitely be talking about it and reaching out to some people from the union to see, what they have to say about it. But it kind of brought up the question for me about what diversity is. I
mm,
saw a post that the union put out. This is, if you recognize this symbol here, this has been all over the place. They put out a statement talking about, how dare anybody really say that they haven't had diversity at the Union for Contemporary Art. And they ran down all the different groups and people and backgrounds and sexual orientations and everything else, saying that this means diversity. Kind of brought up the question in my mind: what is diversity in the Black community? Does the Black community feel like this diverse list is sufficient, or can we think beyond that? If it's is it about that? Is it about who dictates what diversity means and what diversity is? And are we taking away from the idea that the real issue here is that we have an organization that's entrenched in the Black community, and the Black community as a whole kind of doesn't feel like it's for them? Is diversity just a box to check off? And who writes the rules for diversity? Lots of questions to ask there on that, and I feel like that's something that we can continue to talk about, as a group, and try to get to the bottom of, because I don't want to lose sight of what's really important, which is that the Union for Contemporary Art is a very, very important institution, on the most important Black corner of Omaha, and there's potential there for not just young folks and everybody else to be educated in art and to take things to the next level, but international acclaim and international access to people from North Omaha who can be on the world stage when it comes to art through this organization. But there's always been an issue since from the beginning with this organization being accessible to the Black community that surrounds it. A lot of people don't feel like they have access. So still a lot more to talk about, and I'm glad that this conversation is happening. Now it's unfortunate that the circumstances are what they are that it's happening, but at least it's starting this conversation. So we'll be talking about that more and have Miss Green on again, and hopefully some people from the union to hear all sides of the story and get down to the bottom of the story so that we can really get to what we need to do to help the Union for Contemporary Art to become what it really needs to become in our community and beyond.
Man. Definitely will continue that conversation. Well put there, Paul.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep. Carolyn Jack gives us a good morning. Appreciate you coming on in as well. Yeah, share the show on Facebook if you would. Share the show on your page, and we'll see what's going. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of people coming in from YouTube. I hope YouTube is okay. Yeah, YouTube has been tripping lately. So the tech in general is always the issue. So we're working on it as we go. So check in with us. Let us know what's going on. If everybody's there, again, we got a 2-hour show happening. Brother Pina's in the chat. Good morning.
Okay.
All right,
Good
another
morning.
person from YouTube. Got you. Yes. 2-hour show today because we are going to be speaking to the senators a little later on after the second hour. So shout out to Senator Ashley Spivey, Senator Terrell McKinney for working with us on the time frame. And that's why we're going to go an extra hour today in order to be able to speak to the senators. So if you have bills and questions and things that you would want to ask about and have everybody get behind, it's a good time to bring those to the chat. Let us see what you got going on. And we appreciate that you will hang with us during that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and pass it to Buddy. Buddy, what else are we talking about today? What's going on in the community?
Yeah, man. Again, preparing for our guest a little later on for the Senator Cypher, the new segment that we're having again every other Monday. So strap in for that. Definitely, I see a few people checking in. So thank y'all there, Brother Mark Manor, Mama Guy, Michelle Moreno, G. Miller Jenkins. Top of the morning to everybody checking in. Thanks for tuning in with us. I definitely have a few things to dive into today. Definitely want to rehash. Again, there is a town hall that's going down today over LB 556, which again deals with the youth juvenile justice situation, which we'll be talking about a little later on, especially as you prepare for Senator McKinney, who has his own bills that he's rolling out. A few hearings, actually several hearings this week. So we'll be talking about that a little later on. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to our partners at the library. The Omaha Public Library had a forum over the weekend. That's definitely something that I would like to see more of. It was a youth violence prevention and was a solution resolution forum. I'm slaughtering the name.
Oh, a lot of names, a lot of words.
Yeah. My apologies. Conflict resolution. Thank you. I'm going on a couple hours of sleep, but conflict resolution forum at the South Omaha Public Library, which I thought was dope, and definitely again just reminded me of the conversations we need to be having ahead of the hearing of LB 556 coming up on the 14th. But again, if you would like to join that conversation, there will be a town hall today, actually, to talk about some of that So again, maybe we'll get into that a little later on with Senator McKinney, who also has a few bills, again, acknowledging some of the pathways and trying to, again, attack really what's going on with the youth and juvenile justice in the state. So continuing that conversation, also moving along, looking at what's going on with the really wanting to know if anybody went over the weekend to a few of the forums, not just the candidate forum that we'll be talking about. Again, we are preparing to interview all the candidates, so definitely love to get your feel on, who you feeling, what did you hear, did you like what you heard, did you check it out? Again, several, I think all but one candidates were present at the forum at Metro over the weekend, so definitely would love to hear for anybody who went to that. But also, did you make it to the Empowerment Network Transformation 2030 Summit? Again, that's going down as well. Big shout out to Willie Barney and the whole Empowerment Network crew for putting in the work, man. Again, we were able to go to one of their seminars at CenturyLink, or I don't even know what it's called now.
Quest Center.
Mama call it Quest Center. I'm gonna call it Quest. But yes, big shout out to the work that the Empowerment Network is doing. The Transformation 2030, $1 billion goal that they're going for to try to raise funds. They've already raised millions and millions, and looking forward to seeing what they're doing. Very impressive with especially they're doing with the youth, man. Hundreds and hundreds of youth with the Step Up program, getting them on the right path, man. Getting them, experience, man. As a kid who was a part of all kinds of programs growing up, that experience goes a long way, man. So big shout out to the Empowerment Network, and shout out to you for tuning in to us right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. Again, we'll be getting into all those things and more. Definitely want to talk about this ebony to ivory situation a little later on. Again, supporting our businesses, supporting our organizations. If we don't, who will? Man. That's what it's about. And so, all that and more. About 15 minutes in, Paul B. We'll say
yep. Actually, it's 7:17 if you believe in the concept of time. Appreciate everybody that's joined in. And we'll take a quick break and come right back and jump into more discussion. Thanks for joining us this morning. Do us a favor and share the show on your page. If you're on YouTube, you can see a lot of people coming in now on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, share the show, please, if you would. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B's Buddy the Guy. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Man, shout out to all the chat chimers, all of the ghost listeners, and all of the monitoring spirits. We got a lot of monitoring spirits chatter over the weekend over our conversation with Lakeisha Green on Friday. So some of them chiming up finally and understanding that they have been tuning in, listening, and responding in their own way. And it's very interesting to see. Very interesting to see how what it is that we're talking about here is resonating with a lot of people. Because we're the whole goal really is to jump in, to talk about what's going on in the community according to what the community feels needs to be talked about. So shout out to all of you who have been a part of all of these things, and we really appreciate it very much. I see Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat. Good morning. Also, Kimra Snipes in the chat. Good morning. Want to tell you, I really appreciate your reports, the stuff that you've been writing and putting out there about your attendance at some of these meetings, namely the Empowerment Network. I saw your notes and really appreciate that very much. And also, I talked to a few people about a few people that went to that forum as well, and gave me some kind of just offhand reports about what was happening. But I would love to hear more from anybody who went to any of these events, and I appreciate that very much. Anthony Rogers right in the chat says we are also able to get Kali some FaceTime with Big Sherm and Pastor Ballard. We'd like to organize. Sorry if you don't. Okay. Not sure what that. Sorry if you don't mean. Well, only here to organize. Measure Miller Jenkins in the chat says, I know Senator McKinney did a study last year on affordable housing. Are there efforts to redefine what affordable means legally and legislatively in Nebraska? Very good point. We always, every time we talk about affordable housing, we got to go back to that question. What does affordable
Man,
actually mean?
yeah,
What does affordable mean? So
hammer down a definition.
most deaf. She says the Sydney was an amazing experience this Saturday. Okay.
Okay. Want to
Yeah,
go see Kali Akuno?
that's what's up. Appreciate everybody that went to these events.
Yeah. For anybody that was outside, apparently the weather was lovely. So yeah, let us know how the events went. If you made it to the forums, the candidate forum, the Empowerment Network forum, the Sydney. Paul, I heard you was out, eating soup and judging art as well over the weekend.
Yeah, man. This one thing about this thing here. There's we ain't getting rich doing this. So there's always we both. If you guys don't know, we both work over the weekend most of the time, and I kind of hate that I missed a lot of the stuff that I wish that I can go to. But we're trying to expand that. We're trying to get more representation in the places that we want, and report a little bit more completely, and hopefully get it to the point where we can come to some more of these events. But as at the moment, yes, when work calls, we gotta do what we gotta do. So. Yeah, I was there, and it was actually a really great event. The Art and Soup event is something that I didn't know hadn't been going on for years and years and years. They raised
Man,
money for traveling nurses, and it was really interesting. Tim Clark was there, Randy Goodwin was there, and they were both on stage, having things to say. It was interesting. It's always interesting to see when a big event and a big turnout happens to raise funds for certain things, because it always is interesting to me. Like, what do people got to do to raise funds for this? I
mm,
went around asking a lot of people, like, why are you here, donating to the traveling nurses association? What is that? Why is that important enough for you to come here and come up out of your dollars to support it?
man,
Because I
man.
want to know the motivation. I want to know why people help certain causes but not others.
Mhm.
So I tried to take the opportunity to learn something while I was doing the job, and but it was a really interesting event, great event, and it was interesting to talk to some folks and it was also really inspiring to see how many artists we have around us, man.
Oh yeah, man. It's art,
Yeah,
man,
just
man.
yeah, the whole design center full of just there was 112 tables I had to judge, so
Really
yeah, so it was a lot of art all around us, and it just made and everybody was feeling good because the weather was nice, and they were there showing their art, and I was that in that way it was a super positive place to be. So that's what's up.
nice. Well, again, we're art warriors, man. All about the art. So I'm glad you got to experience that. And man, actually, a perfect kind of hit me with an alley oop, man. Perfect segue to the next segment. As far as why do certain people support certain causes and where people direct their money and their dollars? And I definitely, if anybody made it out to the cash mob event, I definitely would love to hear from you on that, man. I definitely want to talk about this situation a little bit more. Glad, thank you for saying what you said earlier about the situation. And this is something that does happen too often. And you mentioned, it happens at other places, especially talk about beauty hair. You remember the whole Chris Rock documentary talking about good hair. You know what I mean? Like the connection between the black community, so-called black community, and our hair and our hair care products. Actually the first bill that Senator McKinney got passed was the hair, the hair discrimination legislation. So it's a very, very interesting conversation, about our community and our hair and hair care products, and the billions and billions of dollars annually we spend on that. But it goes beyond that and just into business in general. When I hear this story, I think about the game store and Brother David.
Mm-hmm.
Brother David Mitchell. And if you remember the whole situation, he was accused of breaking into a rival's game store, and there were police called on him, and he went through a whole court case, all for it to come out that none of that was true. And it was basically a rival trying to smear his name. So again, very, very interesting that we see, this type of behavior here again, competitors attacking a black business. So, that's just where my mind goes on this situation. But big shout out to those who did, show up and show out and support, the Ebony to Ivory beauty supply store. Actually, some video on Big Sherman's page. So if you are friends with Sherman L. Wells, definitely urge you to go check that out on his page. See the beautiful faces in the building supporting the place.
We also heard from the owner too. She put out a couple of posts that were reposted in Friends of First Sky Omaha. She says, "I've seen the post supporting my store. Thank you all. As a woman-owned Black business, I knew wasn't going to be easy. This is what I didn't expect was all the additional hurdles that were out in place just based on race. Almost all the wholesalers for the Black beauty supply market are Asian owned. In 2019, I went to a seminar put on by a Beauty Supply Institute." She said to help establish Black-owned beauty supply stores. At that seminar, they talked about how difficult it would be, and how the Asians have opened stores next door to underpriced items until you can't afford to compete. Interesting. So they talked about how they get credit, but I wouldn't. Well, my credit score was almost 800, and I still couldn't get a business credit card. The First National Bank said that I could after 2 years in business, but when I applied again after 3 years with a 750 plus score, they kept asking for tax forms from the last 3 years, monthly statements, and so much paperwork that I gave up. So interesting. Yeah, she goes on as a funny thing is that my white husband with a 720 score applied for American Express card and was approved in 20 minutes for 10K. So she said, even if you don't think this happens, just Google why do Black owned businesses get bad loans.
Man,
I hope we get past these prejudices one day to where we are judged on our history and not our race. Blessings to all who follow me. So shout out to that sister who's the owner of that store and is giving us a little insight on what's going on when she mentions the Asian owned stores. That's one of the things that I'm talking about. Growing up in California, that was a huge thing. The Black community
man,
and the Asian community, whether or not they get along. Remember, there's a young sister that got shot by a man at a liquor store out there that and really really didn't do well for the relations between the Asian population there and the Black population there, and it kind of happens all over the place. And sometimes those hair places are centers of the controversy there because they're everywhere.
man.
So yeah, and so we don't ever want to make it a race thing, but the relationship is interesting. I actually saw a video from an Asian lady that talked about that, the fact that they were able to get loans, the fact that they got discriminated against, the fact that the Asian people didn't had to would not be allowed in certain neighborhoods, certain white neighborhoods, and certain other places, and they were kind of directed a little bit to the Black neighborhoods. Like that's where they were able to get the loans and the property and so on and so forth. So they felt like they had been pushed over to these situations, and that's the only place when, if you think about it, that's kind of like why they went in the direction of Black hair care. First of all, we spent a lot of money on it,
Billions.
billions, a lot of money, but also because there's been some push in the direction for them. They can only get certain buildings in certain neighborhoods and so on and so forth. So lots of nuance to it, but it's really interesting to see that even when she went to the sister went to the seminar and they told her that she was going to run into exactly what she ran into. Just shows you how widespread it is. So really interesting. And this story it's an opportunity not just to learn more about a Black owned store and a woman who's running a Black owned hair supply store, which is, like I say, a different thing throughout the whole country that's even happening. But it's just an opportunity to look at the relations in the neighborhood and so on and so forth. And like you say, like business, just how business works. We're still in a situation where people get pushed back for credit and get pushed back for property, just like how you've always heard it happen back in the day. So
Man,
none of that has changed.
yeah, that old trope. You want to get that mortgage, you can't have any Black pictures, and you want to sell that house, you can't. You got to have a white face to come help you close the deal. Like that's, yeah. We were kind of talking about it before the show, and to your point, we used to say that back in the 80s, and here we
Man,
are, almost 40, 50 years later, and
I was
same
telling
thing.
I was telling Buddy that's some Gen X talk back in the '80s, man. Get you a white friend to go get the door open for you.
Man,
We used to call it face from 18. So if you were Mr. T, if you were B.A. Baracus, you always had face to go in and open that door for you, and that's why we used to call it face. So to me, it's just interesting that even to this day, like she's saying, her white husband went in and was able to get credit before she was, and that's crazy. Really, really interesting that we're still in that realm. It's almost like redlining didn't go away. You know what I'm saying?
hello,
Credit
almost,
practices, Jim Crow practices didn't really go away. What it feels
almost.
like.
Right.
Slavery, prison, industrial complex. I mean, you want to keep talking about it? You want to keep talking about it? You want to keep going?
What we talking about? We ain't talking about that. What we talking? We ain't talking about
Man, whole new face. That's all it is. That's all it
yeah,
is. It's a new face.
big time. I wanted to jump into the chat because I see Miss Clarice
Yeah.
Jackson in the chat saying good morning. Appreciate you coming in. Heather Williams said, I supported the cash mob because what Mr. Lee is trying to do is wrong.
Yeah.
I have supported the young lady since she opened in North Omaha. Again, she has 2 locations. And one is, and a lot of people had to go out to Bellevue because the one on 30th wouldn't open. That was how this all started. Lisbeth Ariano went to go visit the 30th store and was closed. She tried to jump in and see what was going on, and this is the story that she got back, which was that she was getting some pushback. So again, there was 2 locations. The cash mob they was sent out to Bellevue. So appreciate everybody who went to that and helped that situation out. It's the first time I ever heard of a cash mob too. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Get your money up, come support the business, buy her out. You know what I'm saying? Do what you can do.
Man, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm kind of feeling like if you taking part in this whole Target debacle, if you doing the whole Target thing and you're not supporting this sister, then you're missing the point. Like, what we doing?
take
What we
that target,
doing?
take that Target money and go
Yeah.
give it to the Ivy. Also, Vicky Young in the chat saying good morning. Good morning to you. Maggie Miller Jenkins says Tupac wrote about her. Yeah, about that young sister that died that got shot at the store there.
Didn't that incident lead to a riot?
It was part. It led to I don't know if I would call it a riot. It was kind of a riot. Yeah, it was kind of like uh it was a targeted. It wasn't the a riot in the sense of like they was just walking down tearing up everything. Like it was a little bit of a war between like Asian folks and the black community. So they was trying to tear up some Asian stores. So it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was bad news. Young black. Yeah, Tupac wrote about it for sure. Also, Kimmer in the chat saying, yeah, it's true. They had a whole Asian communities in the 17 and 1800s in the South, and they did force them to go live amongst black people. Anthony Rogers Wright earlier in the chat was saying, let me see if I can find it. He says,
About anti-immigration.
yeah, no, he was saying something about the Asian population that came in at a certain time. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to catch up with all these.
Yeah, chat's going off. I do see a comment I want to acknowledge from Brother Anthony Rogers, right? He says
Yeah.
the first anti-immigrant law in U.S. history was against Asian people in 1882.
That's the one I was looking for right there. Yeah. Yeah, man. We got to remember that too. Like Asian people not they ain't the only ones, but that's the biggest story about concentration camps in America.
Yeah,
Was when they put Japanese Americans in them.
Yeah.
So
Out in Cali.
yeah. Kimmer is saying Mr. Lee been a racist. I stopped going to his store in the 90s. He's accused me of stealing a comb that I came in with.
I have heard of some incidences of some sisters being mistreated at few of the stores.
Also, I've heard some of the opposite. I've heard some people who said they used to work at Mr. Lee's stores saying he ain't even thinking like that. So the community's talking. The community's talking. But of course we can hear who has to say about what, but we also can see what kind of actions. First of all, what the black community is feeling about the situation and whether or not they have these kinds of experiences that Kimber's just talking about, where you're getting accused of stealing and stuff like that. Like, we got to see what's happening there. But there's also, the actions. If there's actual things that has been going on to hinder her business, is it just a rival business trying to snuff out the competition, or is there some racial things behind it? We don't want to start no mess or read too much in it or any of this. We kind of just want to look and see what actually happened, what actually went down, and then skip all past that, man. Because the bottom line is the cash mob. You know what I'm saying? Like with us, it always gets down to that. We can go back and forth all day long about who did what, blame who, race relations, if there's something racial going on, so on and so forth, and all that. But the bottom line is Sherman Wells already went down to the business to support the sister. There's already a cash mob that happened just yesterday to support the sister. Let's just keep on trying to support.
That's it, man. And on that note, about 30 minutes in, you want to take a break, smell the coffee a little bit?
Yeah, let's take a break, smell the coffee. We both been going off on a couple hours sleep, so
Man,
Stop me if I get to talking too long. For sure.
long in the tooth.
We'll take a quick break and come right back. Tell us how you guys have enjoyed the weather. Let's switch up a little bit. Do anything over the weekend? Taking that sun.
Man, right near the beach.
It'll be 80 degrees today. I'm already turning the air conditioner on back.
Man,
Heat, air, you don't know what to do around here. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Lead poisoning in children under 7 is scary, but it's also 100% preventable. Not only can lead be found in paint and soil, it can be found in many common spices, certain baby foods, and brought home from job sites. Children with lead poisoning might not show any symptoms until their levels are dangerously high. So ask your healthcare provider for a lead test for your child. You can help prevent lead poisoning in children.
Welcome back. Shout out to the Douglas County Health Department. Man,
Hey.
trying to save the babies.
yeah, man, lead poisoning. You can prevent it.
Interesting how pretty much every year they hit us now saying this is still an issue, still a problem, but it's a problem that we can solve, especially in our community. Our community has the highest levels. When I say our community, I'm talking about North Omaha in particular.
Yeah, man, redlining.
Redlining, highest levels of lead. So please get it tested and take a look at all the other ways that kids can be poisoned by it. And shout out to them for stepping up game, man, spending some of this loot that I'm sure they're worried about what kind of money they're gonna be able to get from the government to be able to battle some of this stuff.
Looking tight. Yeah.
Body tightening the belt.
Yeah, man. So handle it while you can. Again, all jokes aside, like we talk about the history of redlining, and we know about this history, and here we are talking about things 40, 50 years later. Like I said, new face, same problems, new face.
Big time.
So, still dealing with the ugly remnants of redlining and lead poisoning and just environmental injustice is a big part of that. So get tested today, y'all.
I like what Kimber's saying. She says, I'll stop talking about race when I can walk into a room and nobody knows what race I am.
Man. Chat's low key going off. I kind of wanted to acknowledge.
Yeah, definitely supporting Black businesses is a regular part of my weekly behavior. That's what's up, Kimber. Appreciate that very much. Also, Marlon Harrison says, I watched a good documentary on Asian American history on Amazon Prime over the weekend, and they mentioned that shooting incident in the documentary. Yeah, LA went off. Also, Kimber says, I'm not one of those colorblind Black Americans.
Okay.
By no means. Matthew Miller Jenkins says, race relations are cultivated through social systems to keep us negatively engaged with each other. For real.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I say it all the time, man. The whole race situation is kind of put in front of us to distract us and misdirect us from the classism war that's really impacting all of us.
Speaking of which, also got to acknowledge Zoot Suit riots since from California as well. Brother Pena says Zoot Suit riots were a series of riots that took place in Latino revolutionary. It was definitely a thing. And to this day, it kind of spilled over to lowrider culture for a little while. So it's really interesting. 2 years ago, it got signed into law that you can cruise again because they took every instance of a Latino and Black culture out of the streets by saying your car couldn't go low. You could not cruise on certain streets. They try to shut down the whole car culture, and a lot of that car culture came from back in the day, man. The Zoot Suit days.
Man, you said 2 years ago?
2 years ago, they just passed a law that you can start to cruise again because it's been a law for years that you couldn't cruise, you couldn't have certain tint on your windows, you couldn't have your car low. They were trying to kill all vestiges of the culture of Latino lowrider culture that Latinos started and Black folks adopted and got together on. And so they don't like that. They don't like when Blacks and Latinos get together on stuff.
Man, that's So
Buddy's wheels is turning. Buddy's wheels is turning.
Oh man, why you gotta do this to me, man? I mean, I was already kind of thinking of just my mind was going somewhere else, and I'm trying to stay within the bounds of the conversation, see where this is going, but also let the thoughts run, and I'm gonna just go ahead and share it. I do appreciate your sentiment of not not being trapped in this. I understand what Sister Kimmer is saying about, not being colorblind, but also just not having our thinking so trapped in this race-based ideology, which again, if you call it the book drop, that's basically what we, pretty much talked about during the first Sky Omaha takeover of the book drop. But it's hard to do. It is, yeah. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Anywhere you get your audio podcast. Again, the first Sky Omaha takeover of the Omaha Public Library book drop. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's hard to avoid. It's hard to get away from the race conversations. And the episode, this episode today is called "What is Diversity?" And we got to talk about it. We have to talk about not just diversity, but I'm also thinking of equity. Heavy on the equity, to be honest, because it does seem like when we try to build something for us, Black folk, always seems undermined, either internally, externally.
Always.
And I'm as I'm bringing this up, I'm thinking of the union situation and diversity. What does diversity really look like? And
who calls it?
Exactly.
Who says what's diverse?
Exactly. And I'll just say it. And this is the opinions of Buddy the God, Mark Anthony McGall. These are my opinions. But when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, it does seem like the LGBTQ plight. And again, that's nobody deserves to be discriminated against, disrespected, any of that. But it seems like when we talk about diversity and we're talking about, things specifically for Black folks, like the LGBTQ plight kind of gets thrown in there, and it's like that is enough for diversity, and it just
it goes deeper than that for me. What it is whose definition of diversity are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what struck me when I saw the union's post about we've always been diverse over at the Union for Contemporary Art, and they started to go down the list of like what that meant: Black, white, Asian, LGBTQ. It struck me that it might be we might be saying something different when we're saying diversity. We're kind of talking a little bit more about equity.
Exactly.
When white folks talk about diversity, they got some boxes they check off about what diversity actually means.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I just saw a Anthony Rogers Wright in the chat talk about Fred Hampton, right? He's a Fred Hampton practice. He says the original Rainbow Coalition, drawing lines connecting class and race, not lines dividing them. I feel like when I think about diversity, I think about Fred Hampton. I think about the Rainbow Coalition. When I think about diversity,
Right.
because I'm talking about oppressed people having some equity. I'm talking about if you want a diverse situation in your organization, then oppressed people are. We need to talk about oppressed people, and that's the reason why I think that sometimes when white folks are talking about what is diversity, they're talking about everybody that they know that's been oppressed, LGBTQ people, everybody who has been oppressed, but. What struck me was we're talking about a organization that is rooted in the Black community. Black folks don't feel that they can come into the union sometimes. Black folks have been saying since it started, they don't feel like it was for them. It's in a neighborhood that doesn't feel like it's for them. They've had to fight from day one to try to get the neighborhood on board with what they're trying to do over there because it isn't intrinsically a place where Black folks feel welcome for whatever reason. So when a group of people say we're doing our job by having diversity there, and here's all the different groups that are there, that's fine. That's cool too. But if you are concentrated on that and not concentrated on how I've heard stories of like the white folks the people that worked at the union were like huddled and a little bit scared of the fact that there were so many black folks in on a couple of occasions, a couple of events that happened. They didn't know how to interact because all of a sudden black folks were there and that wasn't what they was used to. So when you talk about diversity, what are we actually talking about here? We're talking about equity. We're talking about a place that's entrenched in the community and what that means as well. It's great. I love the fact that there's equity, that there's all kinds of different people, all kinds of different races, genders, everything. I love that because I want a place like that to be an international place that we can do some of this Fred Hampton talk and get together and have, actually solidify. But it's more than just having different people around. It's got to be people of the same kind of equity mindset so that we can get together. The whole point is to get together, not just to have a bunch of different groups represented in a place. It's so that those groups can combine with the groups that are there and we can get together. I mean, at least that's my opinion about it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I guess my feeling is it wrong to want to have an institution intently for black people specifically? And I'm not saying only black people working there, but even if you are of a different race, different background working there, you're there with the cultural intention that I'm not going to be afraid when black people walk in the door. And we're going to create an environment where that's actually promoted and pushed. And like, why has this institution been here for 10 years and people still don't know what it is?
Yeah. I think we're talking about the same thing.
I'll go to the chat because I kind of like what Maggie Miller Jenkins is saying. And the powerful thing about the chat is they tend to articulate things in a great way when we're struggling.
We know what they trying to say. and then they sum it up in one concise sentence.
Maggie Miller Jenkins says, are we talking diversity inside the racist, sexual orientation, class systems, or are we saying black and queers included? She also says diverse and inclusive are not always the same thing. And also, I'm talking about equity. I'm specifically, and I'm glad you made that kind of delineation as far as, when we're talking, when some people might say diversity, might actually be talking about equity.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a part of this conversation is we're making very, very universally accessible, but also part of this conversation at the same time has to do with a specific place in a specific topic of conversation, the union. Because if we're just speaking on the union, then we're addressing whatever issues that the Union for Contemporary Art, the problems and issues that are there specific to that place, specific to that neighborhood. Because when you ask a question like, is it okay to want all black spaces? I got to say, no, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Is that what we're talking about? We want for the Union for Contemporary Art? You know what I'm saying? It's, like, I don't necessarily I feel like I would, my goal is always to have like the most diverse situation ever because of but with the goal of everybody getting on the same page. If there's going to be, you don't just want a face, you don't just want somebody there because they're from a group. I like what Anthony Rogers Wright is saying here. Diversity must not just be a function of numbers. It must also be a function of shared power. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like you said, like the equity. South Africa is a diverse nation, but who holds the economic power in KwaZulu? Good question. Kimmer says, the original version of diversity for the union did not fit mine.
Okay.
This is where I'm coming from. This is what struck me when I saw their post. I should have screen grabbed it, but it was a post that basically was like, how dare anybody say we haven't been diverse? We've been diverse from the start. We've had all the races, all the genders, all the sexual orientations, all the everything. And I'm thinking, yeah, y'all did, but like we still didn't feel like we can be up in there. So something didn't fit our idea of what that actually meant. And there's somebody in here now that is the executive director of the place. And I felt more, I've had more conversations about the union with her than since the beginning when I used to speak with Brigitte about it. So like, like, and I felt where she was coming from when we talked to her on Friday. Go back and check out the show on YouTube. The conversation that she had about it is we're going to have more conversations about it because it is about restructuring the Union for Contemporary Art to be a place where where the community that it sits in feels like it is accessible.
And
it's got to be the goal.
It's the point. That's kind of what I'm getting at, and yeah. Yeah, like even in the form of the union, like talking specifically about the union, I have no problem with anybody working there, but I do feel like that this thing being in North Omaha, yeah, there should be some catering toward a specifically Black community. And I do think when we talk about equity and diversity in this whole DEI situation, like a lot of times when we're trying to address the issues that are specific, like again, North Omaha, a predominantly Black community, does not have many art institutions. That is a problem that I personally thought maybe and hoping that the union would be addressing.
Yeah, not even Metropolitan Community College. The North Campus is HVAC and a bunch of a nursing program and a lot of different kinds of programs. You got to go all the way out to Elkhorn for art programs. The Elkhorn campus is where art, photography, digital art, video work. That's where that's at. So you're right, in North Omaha, really no places besides Union to learn art and the different kinds of art that they do there. So it's got to be acknowledged.
Yeah, and again, I understand Rainbow Coalition and I'm all for that. But I'm specifically saying anytime we try to, and this is just again my opinion, anytime it seems like we try to do something specifically, or maybe I missed the point, maybe that wasn't the point of the union to have a
institution for North Omaha.
It may happen to be in North Omaha.
That's what it's been feeling like. I don't know. I can't tell you if that was the intent, but that's how it's felt to Black Omaha. For as far as people been telling me. Brother Pena said the word allies, and you mentioned that a little earlier too. What some allies need to understand is that you're a guest. I'm a guest in your community. Has it felt that way?
I don't know. And I don't even really feel like I'm articulating what I'm feeling fully right now. But it just seems like when we try to do something specifically for Black people, it's this, well, it's everybody. Like, I understand that, but we also got to do something for ourselves that's just for us.
Yeah. So the Union for Contemporary Art is a place that has garnered millions of nonprofit dollars, more than any other art institution in Omaha, as a matter of fact. So I'm also throwing that piece in there too. If it was an organization that was there for Black folks, for North Omaha in that way, and there wasn't the international association with it, would we even be getting dollars like that to do that? I don't think so. So that's the other part of this. To me, I feel like if you got a bunch of people over at the Union for Contemporary Art that have this intention of being inclusive to everybody, let's just help them tweak that a little. Like, we don't got a battle. They're bringing in millions of dollars to that corner. We would love to see more people who got some of those high dollar figure jobs, be people from the community more and so on, but only because sometimes we don't feel like that place is for us. If it felt more like it was, then it'd be a different story. You know what I'm saying? It might be a different story. Anybody tripping on nobody. Every business we walk into, somebody white or somebody from a different race or somebody who's working there. Ain't nobody tripping on. We don't need to have we ain't tripping on the fact that there's other people there. We love the diversity, love to be able to connect with other cultures. That ain't the point.
Bring them dollars.
The point is how much are how I'm seeing some talk in the chat about it. Nuance, culture. How do people relate to people? How are people even understanding that they're in the middle of the most important black corner in Omaha, Nebraska? And what does that actually mean?
Is it even that? Which is, again, it kind of goes to the central of what I'm feeling. Your brother Tony Johnson, he says census number shows North Omaha is actually no longer synonymous with Black Omaha, which is again part of the problem that I'm talking about.
Well, to that point, I think you and I long ago realized that we're not talking about a geographic location when we're talking about our community in Omaha anymore, because our community is spread out everywhere. But
that's a problem. That's a problem.
It might be a problem. It might not be a problem. But the point I'm trying to make is we have determined that 24th and Lake is the Black historical district of North Omaha, wherever Black people move, even outside of the state, which is the reason why they come for Native Omaha days every 2 years.
Facts.
So the area is always going to be the most important Black corner in Omaha, whether Black people live there or not.
I mean, but how long is that going to be a fact? Like, again, we got stories of, at Howard University. You and I talked about this years ago. People walking, certain individuals, I'll just say it, European descendants moving into the area, walking their dogs on the historic lawns of Howard University, letting their dogs defecate on the university lawns of Howard University. Again, this is just an anecdote of gentrification. And this is the larger issue of our people have nowhere to go call home.
True. We're not a nation.
We have nowhere to call home on the face of the earth. I'm about to cry just saying that. Think about that. We don't have our own communities, our own nation. We ain't got nothing of our own. Think about that. We're the only people in the world that can say that. And anytime we try to do something for ourselves, it gets conflated with all these other issues. Think about that. We have nowhere to call our own. And now the place that I grew up with, North Omaha, in my mind, like you said, no matter where I go on this face of the earth, if I see a Black person from Omaha, whether they lived there when I lived there 50 years ago, 60 years ago, we could talk about the deuce. We got that in common.
Yeah.
I can see somebody in Germany. Shout out to Dean Kimbrough, Ann Kimbrough, who's my dean at Florida A&M University. When I found out she's from Omaha, you know what she said? She talked about timeout chicken.
Hey.
We're losing it. We have nowhere to go. And when they push us to the edge, where do you think they're going to push us next? We got to stop playing and build for ourselves and protect it. We're losing North Omaha. Where am I going to come back to? I don't want to go to Omaha Day Parade on 120th and Center.
Man.
You got Little Italy. You think that German location off of it's like 90th to Center? It's man, come on, man. Come on, man. You think South 24th is changing? Going anywhere anytime soon?
It's growing. So, as we come up on the 8 o'clock hour, this is an important moment right here, just in case you're coming in and you're feeling the emotion, you're feeling it. This is what we're talking about. This is the reason why we're having this conversation about this. This is the reason why a lot of people that I even call friends that are very seriously not looking at this situation and just jumping on allyship with the workers of the union and the union and everything that's been going on there, and not fully understanding about what this means for the Black community. I need you to look at that. That's why we brought on Miss Lakeisha Green. That's why Buddy is upset right now. That's why I'm upset. That's why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because you got to understand like what's at stake. This is not just a business situation here. This is a situation where the most important Black corner in all of Black Omaha history has been feeling threatened from the jump, man. We talk about first thought, second thought around here a lot. Our first thought has to do with our emotions and what you see is happening right here, what you see and we're feeling like. But Buddy's a thinker, so he's feeling what he's feeling, and then the very next thing is, what do we do about it? We got to figure some things out.
We got to do for ourselves,
and that's the point. Shout out to BAA for purchasing land in North Omaha and creating programs for the kids of North Omaha. Shout out to
if you're not supporting what the BAA is doing, you don't support us. Period.
Straight up.
Period. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not welcome. How many places we gonna go that they gonna tell us we not welcome before we just realize we got to do it for ourselves? I hear you, Cameron. I'm seeing my friends and people moving out west. And I'm seeing the same stories of, yeah, it's nice moving out west, but I still get called the N-word.
Bro, not just out west. Shout out to Clarice Domback for sharing her experience moving downtown. Right outside of her house get called the N-word. She can't move down. She don't feel like she can move downtown. She down 5 minutes away from North Omaha. I'm sorry that I've missed you guys' comments. Something got stuck, and now I'm seeing everybody has been commenting here on this. Appreciate you guys who are supporting and bringing some of these things up. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. Smell the coffee beans. Think about it. We're moving into the second hour, First Guy Omaha in the morning. Again, we're staying 2 hours today because the Senators Cypher is happening today. We worked with Senator Ashley Spivey, Senator Terrell McKinney on a schedule that would work for them to come visit us on a Monday, and that required us to do an extra hour. So, and we don't mind doing it because we love talking to the senators. So get your questions ready. We're going to talk about some bills, some other things. And we happen to have two senators on that are from the areas that we're talking about that are also very passionate about doing for self and figuring out what we need to do for ourselves in North Omaha in a big, big, big way. We can talk about diversity. We can talk about all the different groups that live in North Omaha. We can talk about a lot of different things, but ultimately we are not going to leave Black Omaha out of the conversation. We're not going to leave Black people out of anything. And that has to be a conversation on top of everything else that's happening. Do not mind allyship. Do not mind rainbow coalition with other groups, other oppressed groups in particular. But we're going to have that conversation along with the conversation about Black community as well. And I know that most of you who are chat chimers and ghost listeners agree with that. So we appreciate that, but understand that that's got to be part of the conversation every time we talk. So that's what's up. We'll take a quick break and come back and just start discussing some more of this, continue with this discussion, and also discussion about some of these bills that are battling some of these things we're talking about as well. And then Senator Cypher. So stay tuned. Again, you're listening to First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddy to God. Stay tuned, y'all. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Blooded to God, giving it to you raw.
Man, yeah, my bad, y'all.
Nothing to apologize for at all, bro.
Mm.
At all, bro. For real. Second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning happening right now. This is going to happen every other Monday so that we can make room for the senators to come on and speak. The Senators Cypher is happening shortly. And Senator Ashley Spivey, District 13, Senator Terrell McKinney, District 11, coming on to the show to have some more discussion about what's going on here. Appreciate everybody that has been in the chat. Kimmer said, Buddy got me in the living room pacing.
Yeah. I'm just hearing the conversation with all y'all, man. I ain't know this was we here.
Yeah. And again, we talk about all the time about why we need to choose to talk about certain subjects and why we are bringing up certain subjects and so on. And sometimes we don't know exactly what the emotion is and the reason why we feel like it's important. We go off a lot of what you, the public, also really feel is important. And I can feel this in the zeitgeist. It was real heavy. My first encounter with any of this was friends of mine that were throwing this on my page. Friends of mine that were saying, hey, we forming a union. We don't like what's going on. A bunch of friends got fired, stand with the workers. There's a lot of people who got let go. There's some legal battles going on here as well because people are feeling like something went down illegal. Some people are questioning the leadership of a black woman with many qualifications to do this and has done it in different places and has been embraced by the black community, even though she's a transplant. It ain't always about somebody from here or ain't from here.
Mm-hmm.
And we had her on Friday and got a lot of information. We realized we need to have her on again and speak more. We're very down to have people from the union. I got people who gave me calls and texts suggesting the people to reach out to from the union to bring them on. Y'all know how we do. We like to bring people on, get all sides of the story. We're in second thought around here, so we don't just let the first feeling and the first thing happen around here. We think about it a little bit and try to bring it on because the whole point is some togetherness. The whole point is to get down to the bottom of the story and make the changes where it needs to make. It doesn't have to be always a battle. It can be a conversation. It can be something that everything will start from a conversation, even if it has to go to a battle. It's all going to start from there. Terry Crawford in the chat, appreciate you, says, we need our own spaces. We need places in which we can gather and be free from the mainstream stereotypes and marginalization that permeates every other societal space we occupy. I feel you, buddy.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't, there's people that don't mess with the Black Agenda Alliance. We openly do because we absolutely feel like you got to have that conversation. I come from a family, y'all. My family have family meetings and sit behind family houses, family closed doors, and have that conversation and figure out what's happening before we go out into the public. Because you go out as a united front. You had the conversations in private. Our show is a situation where we have many different listeners of many different backgrounds. We're not necessarily having just a black conversation here because the conversation is even more. There's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of allyship that we talk about, a lot of togetherness we talk about with other oppressed groups. There's a lot of conversations that we are having that I think there are some things that some other people do need to see. But we're also helping to put together some conversations with just the family.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be. Be looking for the Discord coming. Discord is going to have several different places where we can continue the conversation, just like Friends of First Sky Omaha for the general public, and it's also going to have some rooms for the family.
Man,
we got to have it. Got to have it. Kimmer says, I got straight up side eye for folks I never thought I would because of this, and not because of their decision, but because of their decision making process. You're talking about the who belongs to North Omaha question you're asking? Tony Johnson is saying in the chat, Black Omaha leadership and organizations are putting more effort in censoring slightly opposing views on progress and not listening as much. Okay. Mama Goddess is saying gentrifying due to investments in North West does not embrace. Yeah, people are feeling, especially people from North Omaha, which is always the thing in every conversation I ever have with anybody black in North Omaha. That's really the kind of conversation. They feel like, Susie Buffett is in there trying to buy up everything. We feel like, there's like, you can see, I'm glad that you expressed it because you can see the frustration. Where can we even call North Omaha home for black folks anymore? Is that where the black community is anymore? We can say that South Omaha is where a lot of the Latino population live. Most deaf. We can say out west is where a lot of the white folks live. A kid shoots somebody or there's some crime that's happened. All of a sudden, North Omaha is black. Is Black Omaha. You know what I'm saying? Even though the stats say that there's way more different groups there, white folks, Latino folks, Asian folks there than there are even black folks left in North Omaha. What you gonna say? Tony Johnson said a black associate of mine who moved to Omaha often talked about the confusion on who is welcome in Black Omaha. Outsiders are excluded, yet good number of North Omaha leaders are outsiders. There's a conversation all the time about people who are outside Omaha. I'm kind of both because my people are from Omaha, but I was born and raised in California and moved here in 2010. So I don't know if it's about transplants. There is something to be said about people who are from North Omaha, represent North Omaha, and sometimes people who are from other places have other agendas. But you can also be from somewhere else and come here and understand the black community here and what the plight is and be a part of it, and especially long enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Man, one comes to mind, Brother Walter Brooks. I don't think he was born and raised in Omaha.
Right.
But man, the time that he spent in Omaha, I love to have him there. Shout out to Brother Walter Brooks.
Right. Anthony Rush is right. I didn't see this comment he said a little earlier when you were talking about the dogs defecating on Howard University. Said the Howard University students put up signs saying that they would start shooting dogs if the behavior didn't stop. It stopped like 2 days later.
All right. Sad we gotta go to those kind of extremes, but that's kind of my point. What are you willing to do to protect yours? And again, is it bad to say that something is yours?
Yeah.
I'm not of the illusion that, this integrate like America's supposed to be this melting pot in it. No, that's not how it works. In reality, it's not. And that's really kind of, it seems like to be the conversation when we're trying to do for ourselves.
Kimber says the oldest black church in the state is 2 blocks away from there. Talking about a Union for Contemporary Art. Yes, I'm bragging because it's mine. Yeah.
I saw a story about that. We'll love to talk to the pastor there.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Church is over 100 years old. Yeah. I love history. I'm sure we got some things to talk about.
Yep. Moving on, 8:13 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, another part of everything that we're talking about here has to do with the laws that are being formed.
Yeah, man.
That we have to live by, and luckily we have some folks that are representing us in that's. Here's another thing. I always talk about the fact that especially Black Omaha spread out all over Omaha. Is North Omaha even that anymore? We've moved away from this geographic. We used to be like, this is Mind and Soul Radio. This is Omaha news from a North Side perspective. And then we were like, okay, well, it's more about a North and South Side perspective. Let's just, Kimber said, let's call it an East Side perspective. And then it turned into, it's just Omaha news, bro, because, there's people all, we spread out and there's allyship everywhere too. There's a bunch of people. There's a lot of people that listen to us that aren't from Black Omaha that are learning and adding to the conversation and providing allyship. And it's just and it's just like how Black history is American history. Omaha Black news is Omaha news. And so we kept going in this direction, but there's always a couple voices in my head that make me go, we got to kind of, but you know what though? It's not, it's still about North Omaha. And that's Kimber Snipes, who's saying, we can't forget about geography.
You can't.
Neighborhoods.
You can't.
Or what we talking about. And we have people like Ashley Spivey and Terrell McKinney, Senator Ashley Spivey, Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on their names, who are senators in districts. There's geographic areas there that they're taking care of, that laws are being made for, that laws they're fighting laws for. As a matter of fact, this one that we always are on right now is LB 556.
Yeah, man.
Where else is this going to be executed here when they're talking about prosecuting 12-year-olds like adults and detaining 9-year-olds? What neighborhoods they talking about? So you got people like Senator Terrell McKinney that's got to be in there fighting for the neighborhood, fighting for the district, fighting for that geographic area.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the kids in that geographic area don't get detained. I can't dismiss that we also got to talk about a geographic area, and with the hot topic of the Union for Contemporary Art right now, that is in a very specific area, and I've said it all week long and all last week. It's on the most important Black corner in Omaha, Nebraska. 24th and Lake is worldwide. It's known all over the world. It even has its own nickname, the Deuce. If you look up the Deuce on Google, you're gonna see the TV show from New York, and then you're gonna see 24th and Lake.
I mean, was it the Street of Dreams?
Street of Dreams.
Wasn't that made by like some Swedish, did some dudes who aren't even American came and made that documentary? Am I
not sure?
I might be mistaken. I might be mistaken, but again, just to the international allure of that street.
Right. That's right. It's the Deuce now. It's still the Deuce. People who have moved away come home every 2 years, called Native Omaha Days. They come home and what do they do? Cruise up and down 24th.
Man, I mean, Terrace Martin, not from Omaha, but we claim him, and he claims Omaha. He even made a song called "The Deuce." Like it's
Terrace Martin's father, Curly Martin, legendary drummer, got to start on 24th and Lake at the showcase. Like we can go. Where is Preston Love Monument standing? On 24th and Lake. I mean, we can't get around it, y'all. Like we can't have a conversation without talking about the importance of the area. Thank you, Mesh Miller Jenkins. She says, bringing it back to the senator for the senators. What's in the works to legally and legislatively define affordable housing? Results from Senator McKinney's study last year. Good questions. I'm gonna save that for when they come on. They should be on shortly. These are questions I want to talk about as well. We talk about the area too. Affordable housing is also geographically positioned conversation that needs to be had, because we're talking about where we can live. Are there even places to live in North Omaha anymore? What's the housing situation there?
I mean, to that point, again, you got to see the intention. Like we've talked about this and the fact that where are the housing vouchers? Again, what is the overruling narrative about who uses housing vouchers and public assisted living and things like that? They say it's Black folk, quote unquote. That's the whole nother conversation that's debatable, but that's the overarching narrative. The fact that the policy is changed and how that's used, and that they're not really accepting Section 8 housing in North Omaha anymore.
Haven't been for a while.
Like you got to understand that has to be some intention behind that.
Man.
Yeah. I can keep going, but yes. There's but to the point of, whether you said whether or not, that's a good thing or a bad thing. I say it's more bad than good, for the simple fact that we're gerrymandering ourselves.
More sentiment in the chat, echoing a lot of that. Von Chapman says the former Loves Jazz is another example of forced gentrification that has completely watered down and pushed our Black music corner. A lot of folks from other cultures in there playing at Noma. A lot of Black folks frequent it too. I've talked to some of our elders that are all about the fact that they feel like they're bringing music back, bringing Black music back to the corner. They got programs for kids. So, it goes both ways. It goes back and forth. Some of us are feeling like it's not for us. Some of us are feeling like it's being taken over by other cultures. There's a lot to it. Also, Black Dynamite in the chat. Good morning. He says a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of Stevie Wonder's he wanted to say horn parts were written on 24th Street. Yeah, shout out to Hank
Yeah,
Red. Shout out to
man.
Hank Red, bro. I just saw a video of Stevie talking about how he made a certain song, and he was like, he talked about Hank Red in the horn section, coming up with a lot of that stuff. Hey, there you go.
The Deuce influenced the world, man.
As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen,
The Deuce influenced the world.
as a matter of fact, like Lacey said, black people were invented on 24th and Lake. Just remember that. Buddy ain't in the mood. Buddy ain't in the mood today. We try to change it up.
No, I'm here, man. I'm here. It's all love, man. It's all love. You know what I'm feeling is it's a love supreme, bro. It's coming from a place of love. I love my people.
Yeah.
I love my people, and it just hurts me to feel like we're being pushed around and pushed out and don't have a place to call our own. Like that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Very
just wondering, dust in the wind in the grand scheme of the human history as of right now.
Wandering the earth. Brother Pena is bringing up children get burned with chemicals in meat packing plants. We talk about bad conditions. We talk about laws that are trying to fight some of these bad conditions. This one is really standing out to me too, because it's kind of a topic everywhere we go. Shout out to Kimera Snipes who brought it, who showed the passion for fighting this from the very beginning. LB 556. Kind of want to know, who's behind it, who's trying to push this. Because I've heard a lot of law enforcement ain't even about this, prosecuting kids at 12, detaining kids at 9, and all the other things that goes with it. Because we already know like who's that going to affect first and foremost. So I'd be anxious to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Yeah, Kimmer, I tried, but I want to hear from the senators about how that's being fought. Who's the allyship behind that? Somebody put in the chat. I'm sorry that we haven't been able to keep up with the chat here, y'all, for real. And then
Chat's been going off.
And I got to tell you, I've been working feverishly for weeks now trying to figure out why it won't retain the chat on YouTube. Like we've done all the rules that it said for it to be able to retain the chat, still not knowing why and not getting any word back and still trying to figure it out. So unfortunately, this is the reason why I've been trying to just pull up what I can pull up and show it. If you go back to the show, then you can kind of go back and check out the chat on the screen, because the chat has been turned off and we don't understand what is going on. This is the problem when we talk about using platforms that other folks own. You never know what's going to happen there. We're already fighting algorithms all the time, even to get the word out, but we also now are fighting the tech in order to be able to retain what's being said. So, hey, get receipts, screenshot everything all the time. Remember what you said. If it comes up, we'll figure out how to preserve it. We'll battle it. We'll do what we can do. We might even have to move platforms in order for us to be able to preserve what's being said here, because we have the best chat in the world. We have everybody who wants to come on here and they're going after the same thing, some movement, some change, some getting on the same page. And these are experts, and these are people that work in some of these places that we're talking about. And we get good information, good questions. So it's very kind of heartbreaking that the chat doesn't get retained on YouTube. So let's do whatever we can to figure that out. And if we start to tell you some of the places we're going, please come with us there, because that's what it is. One of the main things that you can do right now is sign up to the weekly rap newsletter.
Hey,
I'll go ahead and put that in the chat. This link in the chat. If you haven't gotten down on that, please do. We got a major announcement coming up for the weekly rap. Made some new changes. It's going to be happening by next week. And also this will allow you, the weekly rap is also a place where you can send your comments back as well. You can do it on firstsky@gmail, or you can reply to the newsletter, and we can always continue the conversation that way in the inbox where it can't get manipulated. So we're trying to continue to put those things together so that we can put a lot of what you have to say and a lot of the questions that you have on record. So we can, we always kind of go back and reference these things. So we appreciate everybody that has. Please continue to do that. And yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, Mama God said, are the senators coming? Yes, they should be here shortly. Like I said, we opened up this second hour in order for them to be able to come on according to their schedules, and we had to provide this second hour so that we could. Senator Ashley Spivey, Senator Terrell McKinney, taking kids to school and working
Man.
and driving to the legislation, everything they're doing. We're trying to make it easy for them to be able to come on and talk about it. So appreciate that very much. I see Brother Anthony Rogers Wright and Brother Pena going back and forth about
A bill?
some of these. A bill, LB 573. Not familiar with this one, but he says we must get justice for our precious meat packers.
Okay.
So shout out to everybody. A lot of people from our families are migrated here to Nebraska because of the meat packing plants, and it's real sad sometimes that the conditions haven't changed much over the years.
Man. Gives a little more information on the bill. He says the Meat and Poultry Workers and Contractors Protection Act would increase safety for workers and make it easier for them to form and join unions. Ag corporations found abusing workers or preventing them from unionizing will be prosecuted to full and highest extent of the law. Man, that's great. That's great. And if you want to get a glimpse of, some of the conditions that these meat packers have to deal with, shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling and some of his COVID-19 reporting. Like it just, man, the imagery kind of took me back to reading Farmhouse back in school and things like that. Man.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Baby Boy, man. It's a quality guy. Check him out over at Flatwater Free Press. He got a lot of stuff out right now too. We'll definitely have him back to talk about some of the articles that he gets into. But it really helps, man, when you got an investigative journalist that's really doing the work, and then also a talented writer, so that he's not just doing the investigating. You make it
appealing.
Making enough for you to want to read it. So shout out to him for what he's doing. Shout out to Flatwater Free Press for what they're trying to do as well, and everybody else that's working on it too.
Baby boy.
Yeah, man. Baby boy in the house, man. 8:27 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. About 3 minutes left before we start seeing some senators come on in. So let us know. I appreciate you talking about that one bill. Let us know about some other bills that we're trying to keep our eye on. Meantime, between time, we got a lot of bills coming up. We'll get into it with Senator McKinney.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we're looking at these hearing dates. That's kind of what we're looking at first. March 14th. This one's coming up in 4 days. And if you care about this, then of course that means you got 3 days to hit the button to send in an email, and on the fourth day you can go there in person and oppose or propose this one as well. This is LB 487, adopt the resolution and redress for redlining task force act. Shout out to Clarice Dombeck for promoting this a lot as well. This bill would establish the restitution and redress for redlining task force to study the historic and ongoing impacts of redlining in Nebraska and recommend reparative measures. That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Shout out to this is from Senator McKinney's page. So go to Senator McKinney's page on Facebook and he'll put all these out. Another one that's happened in March 10th. This is today. So this would be you going down to the legislature today to speak on this. LB 49, provide for a model ban and bar policy for school districts. Interesting. LB 49 addresses the use of ban and bar actions by Nebraska school districts. These actions prohibit individuals such as students, family members from accessing school property or attending school activities. The bill ensures that such actions are used appropriately, transparently, and fairly, balancing school safety with individuals' rights. Feel passionate about this and have read about this before. This is happening today. The hearing date is today. Education Committee Room 1525 at 1:30. That's some time to get down to the Capitol and speak on this one as well. Another one that's coming up on the 14th, LB 44, change limitation periods for actions for post-conviction relief. LB 44 amends Nebraska's post-conviction relief laws to extend the 1-year limitation period for filing motions for relief. Specifically, the bill adds a new provision allowing individuals to file for post-conviction relief up to the age of 21 if their conviction occurred while they were minors. This change ensures the individuals convicted as juveniles are afforded additional time to exercise their constitutional rights to challenge wrongful convictions or seek relief based on violations of their rights. Really interesting that this is needed
Man.
in the first place, but it is. And shout out to Senator McKinney for pushing this and reminding us about this hearing date as well, which is March 14th, is what it is. Also, March 14th is also going to be have a hearing date here talking about LB 703, provide for an exchange program for the Commission of African American Affairs, partners of ours. The bill aims to strengthen cultural, economic, and educational ties between Nebraska's African American community and Ghana. This initiative recognizes the historical and ancestral connections between African Americans and Ghana, creating opportunities for collaboration in business, education, and cultural exchange. Really interesting that this is happening right now. We've had Michelle Trosclair, who used to be a host on our show, that moved to Ghana for those very reasons to get out of America. Really, is what she wanted to. She was like, I've had enough. She went over there and established some teaching jobs and some things that she did a lot while she was over there. Her time and so there. It ultimately came back, but always talks about going back again. And it's interesting. Also in the news, we listened to some guys called with a show called Earn Your Leisure, and they were a part of building a community out there. Kind of went out there to the Ghanaian government and said, "Hey, if we can build the town for people to come here, would you allow it?" They said yes. Got in collaboration, found some more people to invest, and building a whole city out there, basically for individuals from the African diaspora. You talk about us not having a home, us being displaced. There's actually people that are actually trying to do something about that, the same way that the Black Agenda Alliance are. Buy some land, be able to do what you need to do on that land. This is also happening in Ghana. So this is interesting that this bill is also something that they're working on as well.
Yeah, I believe it was either Ghana or Nigeria or possibly both that recognized the very thing that I was saying earlier, and started the year of return, which again was a open door, a open window for descendants of the diaspora to return back to Nigeria and Ghana, where unfortunately most slaves were taken. The coast of West Africa to enroll in dual citizenship and kind of return back to that area of the motherland, if you will. So yeah, this is an ongoing conversation, but we also deserve spaces here, stateside.
So true. I love what Magic Miller Jenkins is saying in the chat. Wouldn't it be great if there was a bus to take you to and from Lincoln to testify at legislature?
I see what you did there.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, we got to support it, man. We got to support it. Definitely big shout out to Senators McKinney and Ashley Spivey. Hopefully they'll be joining us soon for the work that they're doing.
Absolutely. Anthony Rogers Wright is bringing up a bill I hadn't heard about yet either. LR22CA. Oh, that's not a bill. What is LR? I'm sorry. Remind me.
A legislative resolution.
There you go. An amendment to the state constitution codifying the rights of all Nebraskans to clean air, clean water, and healthful environment and safe climate.
Okay.
It's a shame. It's a shame that has been, it's a shame that's not just a given. Can we all agree that we need clean air, clean water? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like it's too bad that kind of stuff is not a given. And we got to talk about it. So that's what's up. Also in the chat, let me see if I can find the one I was looking for. Anthony Matthew Miller Jenkins asking about who's on the committee. What was the committee he was talking about? This LR 22CA, I think she's asking about. Yeah, man. I appreciate the conversations that's going on inside the chat as well. That's what's up. Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, he's asking me, Omaha does not have one sister city in Africa or so-called South Africa or South America. Are we going to change that real soon? Oh, interesting.
Okay, nice.
Very much so. Love that. Yep. CL Morning, new name I haven't seen before. Let's leave all protest signs in vehicle windows whenever possible. I don't know if that's a great idea. It might be a good idea. I'm not sure, but I don't want my windows busted out from somebody who wants to walk down the street and see what I stand for. Rather talk to them face to face. Magic Mill Jenkins is reminding us in Ghana next week the largest open market was set ablaze. Not next week. That just happened. So there's definitely getting pushed back, right? This CL Morning looks like it's a bot or something like that. So yeah, apologize for that in the chat, y'all. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright says, and of course, one of Malcolm's most influential mentors was the first prime minister of Ghana. Lots to talk about with this Ghana situation, man, for real. But before we get to any more abstract discussion on those things, we do have a special guest waiting in the wings, and we'll go ahead and bring her in, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Ashley Spivey of District
11.
11. 13. Right.
Yeah.
I walked.
McKinney is 11. I'm 13.
Yeah.
I walked with y'all, and I realized it butted up against each other. I didn't know that before, so now I know. That's what's up.
Yeah. Lucky
All
number
ones.
13.
Good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning. How are y'all on this beautiful Monday?
Doing all right. Doing better now that you joined. Definitely glad that you're able to make it and join with us.
And I appreciate the time change between kids and just getting up early and just the day. 8:30 works good for me. So thank y'all for making the concession for me.
No problem. It's important we, give you the space to again speak up and address what it is that you feel is important to address. So yeah, here we are.
Yes.
We're in some heavy conversation today about a few things. I don't know if you were able to catch it, parts of the show earlier, but the theme of the show is a little bit about just Black Omaha and what do we have for ourselves and how can we do for ourselves. What does it mean? We talk about Black Omaha in particular because we talk about our community, but it's kind of spread out all over Omaha. It's not in a geographic area much anymore, but we do have to talk about geographic areas. You reside over a geographic area. And so does Senator Terrell McKinney. So we do have to talk about that. If you've heard any about what we've been talking about, how do you feel about what's going on in we'll say the North Side?
Yeah, I think it's a timely conversation. And I actually was just speaking at the Empowerment Network Summit on Saturday for a spell and kind of talking about this. So I think historically, right, North Omaha has been synonymous for Black Omaha, which, as you mentioned, is not the case anymore. Black folks are spread out, but North Omaha is like our historic footprint. And in the legislature, at least, I have been in many conversations with my colleagues trying to help them understand the North and South Omaha Recovery Grant. So colleagues that don't understand why does North Omaha need more money? Like they haven't been able to do anything with it. Wow. Things are not changing. Why? There was even a comment for someone who actually is a supporter of the North and South Omaha project that specifically said, give them grace as they work to evolve. Was their exact words. And so, I think there's a lot of misconception around institutional disinvestment and why this geography specifically needs intentional investment, right? Like intentional economic investment. And so I've been trying to do a lot of education around that because I think it's unfortunate. And they are trying to claw back some of the work that Senator McKinney and Wayne did around the ARPA funds. Any bills that are up that affect like urban areas, specifically North Omaha, whether it's through qualified census tracts or other things, they are holding in committee. And so I think we knew that what they did was historic, right? But it's almost like the Obama effect. Like, did it, and y'all not getting nothing else. And don't think, and we're going to try to take back what we gave because that's how we feel today. And so I think it's an interesting conversation of how do we continue as a community mobilize, and we have a strong economic plan. We have a united front. We're leveraging collective resources together because I think these systems, right, aren't going to save us. Like they weren't intended to, nor were they designed that way. And so we have to hold them accountable, yes, but we need to have, I think, a stronger comprehensive plan around what does economic opportunity and transformation look like for our community, and like who are all the parts and pieces within that network that need to work together to help to actualize it.
Right. Big time. And as far as, the role that you play within that landscape as a senator, and specifically you, who we learned through your campaign and shout out to our conversations with former Senator Justin Wayne, how diverse your district is actually.
I mean, I have
Um,
millionaires,
right.
like multimillionaires in houses that are like $10 million in my district. And then I have, people struggling to make ends meet. Like my district is very diverse economically, racially. I have more new Americans and immigrant and refugee populations from Karenni to Burmese folks.
Exactly.
So like it is, but I do think that there's a common thread around like economic opportunity or,
Mm,
some of the other things we talked about, affordable housing, whether it's to buy or to rent, public education, like those span income. It just, the conversation then becomes around access and opportunity. I think when you layer
exactly.
in income in that way, right? Like who has that access and opportunity really to do the things that they need to do, especially in my district, versus they don't, and money makes a difference.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the because you actually kind of brought back what I was struggling to articulate earlier, as far as you mentioned a common thread. And as a senator of a diverse district, but also as a proud Black woman, how do you walk the line of trying to address issues that you see specifically and disproportionately affect Black communities, but also keep in mind that you're representing a diverse district and try to address those issues? But I see it a lot in the language of how some bills are formed. Address those issues, but also keep it vague enough to it's not just a Black bill.
Your shoes are over here, Bubby. My little one is going to school and he's getting dressed and wearing his shoes. It's over there with Daddy. I think that is such a good question, buddy. And I actually got this a lot in my campaign. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of folks were like, you only represent one part of the population, and you got to represent everyone, which is code for like, how do you represent the white folks?
Mm-hmm.
And in my day job at Ivy Black Girl, we use an approach called targeted universalism, which says like, if you intentionally have a specific focus on the people that have the worst outcomes or are mostly impacted, if you solve for those folks, everyone will inherently benefit because they're the worst off. And so I take that same approach in my policy of like, if I solve for the people that are most impacted, then everyone will benefit and see, the entire community will see the benefits of that, whether they're impacted a little bit or kind of a bit, And so I think on the policy side, for example, I had a bill that I actually got from Senator McKinney that I loved around economic opportunity. And it was an incentive program to do, bye, baby. You want to say hi to the people? Say bye. Have a good day.
Hi.
Good job. See you later, pumpkin. And it was around creating incentives for urban developers. And so, but it was around commercial builds, and it looked at qualified census tracts. So qualified census tracts are across the state. And those are areas that have a specific number of the residents that are at or below the poverty level. And so that's how they look at it and qualify. Like there's a formula at the federal level. But I brought this bill because, and I really wanted it because I think economic development is usually talked about in a silo where it's just housing or it's just commercial, and it's not like this comprehensive approach. And so this would really have a focus on commercial builds. So like affordable co-working spaces and retail spaces, mixed use properties, and then properties that also have an environmental focus. So like when you talk about like having green certifications, like how that building was built, is it more economically aligned to best practices? Like it created all those incentives. And so I took it in front of the committee, and they were like, well, why does North Omaha need more of this? And I was like, well, actually, this is around qualified census tracts, and you have one in your district, and you have 4 in your district, other community committee member, and I had to help them understand that while yes, North Omaha has qualified census tracts, so does your region within the state. And if you again solve for qualified census tracts, which has this underlining intention of addressing poverty, then everyone will benefit. But again, their mind didn't go to that. They're not recognizing that these projects, and even though I'm a Black woman representing the North Omaha district, that the things that I can bring and what I'm bringing actually add benefit to more rural communities. And so I think it's a lot of education, and it's me being intentional about the policies that I bring and preparing for those kinds of conversations, because I know that they're going to ask me, right? And so I know that like what I have to do has to really toe that line, and I have to be more strategic than my counterparts who are like, I represent Norfolk and that's what I'm bringing, all bills that benefit Norfolk. That's okay for them. But for me, I don't have that same luxury.
We're gonna bring in our other special guest before we respond to that. But Senator Terrell McKinney waiting in the wings. Good morning. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Good morning. How y'all
Already
doing?
at the office. I'm not even down there yet.
You say you're not down at the office yet? Yeah. Senator McKinney, looks like you are down at the office, so appreciate that. Appreciate you working with us on this time frame. I hope this works for you too. But long time no see, bro. I'm glad that you were able to make it today. How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, man. I'm good. Yep. How y'all doing?
Man, doing all right. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, glad to be speaking to y'all. Like, this has been a long time coming. A lot of our audience has been, anticipating being able to have you on. And I think this conversation and having the community have the access to you all and the access that you allow has had a huge impact. So let's keep this going. Let's keep this going.
Definitely.
Senator Spivey was just mentioning the fact that when she has kind of work around situations there in the legislature in order to make certain people sometimes feel like the policies that she's trying to push will benefit everybody, not just North Omaha. They look at her and say, well, she's a Black woman from North Omaha. She must be, well, that's the only thing on her mind. How is it that you've been able to, Senator McKinney, navigate that situation too? I think everybody down there knows you for Black Omaha in a real big way. How do you navigate around when you have to?
For me, it's been a rough year. I mean, I think just dealing, like, we got a new crop of people, and a lot of them don't understand the historical aspect of what has happened prior. So it's been a lot of educating, but it's also been people that's been here that's been asking, like, is that enough, or like, why do y'all need this? And just really just getting deep into like why it's never going to be enough. And that's what I tell them. Like, honestly speaking, the economic recovery plan was never enough, and we never said it was enough. It was honestly just a start. Like, it's never going to be enough for me as a Black man from Omaha for the years of oppression and the systematic racism and all that there's no dollar amount that could quantify any of that. So it's never going to be enough. And just having to break that down and just being unapologetic about that, but also putting them in a place, but also telling them, like, a lot of the stuff that we're proposing is not just benefiting our communities. Y'all just looking at it from just a narrow lens and not actually reading the legislation. Y'all just looking at it from the lens of, oh, like Senator McKinney or Senator Spivey is introducing this. They're only thinking about their districts. Yes, I'm thinking about my district because that's what I
represent.
Like, I came here for my district, so I'm a rep for my district. Like, why are you mad about that? But if you read the legislation, it actually helps more than my district.
Right.
Yeah, I told him about the Urban Development Incentive Act and the conversation that was had around qualified census tracts and them not understanding it helps their district too.
So it sounds like Senator McKinney, you go through the same thing. Then she has to educate folks on how this doesn't just benefit. I can see how they can be lazy about it. Just kind of look at y'all like, well, they from North Omaha, they must be just only thinking about Black folks, and that's that, and then move on from that.
I mean, to a certain point, again, talking about geographic locations, constituency, is that a problem? Like,
yeah, like, what am I?
is that a problem?
What am I here for?
Right. Let me jump
What we
into the chat.
doing?
We got limited time here. Let's jump into the chat real
Okay.
quick. Maggie Miller Jenkins has been asking the whole show about what are your thoughts, Senator Spivey, on legally and legislatively defining affordable and affordable housing. I know that you said we can't look at these things in silos, just housing, just economic development, so on and so forth. But if we do got to kind of drill down about affordable housing, what would you say the definition is there?
Yeah, and I know Senator McKinney has worked to try to get a definition before of affordable housing across the state, which I think is going to be important. So my goal is to try to get and work on a comprehensive state economic development plan that defines like a strategy for housing and affordable housing, both on ownership and renter side, some workforce and like other pieces that affect economic development, like affordable childcare, and what does that look like? And so, at the state, though, right now, what's happening? There's also some shifts with policy, with how our governor is proposing to combine some of his divisions and the work that they do. So, for example, I'm on appropriations committee, so I see every agency, and they come to talk about their budget, and we have to appropriate it before they can do it. And so we just had the Department of Economic Development come, and there's a lot of cuts to historic programs that impact North Omaha, as well as just across the board. We're not investing in workforce, even though that is a one key driver to grow our economy and address like our deficit, bring in revenue. So I have some concerns with that. And talking to the head of DED, they are giving up a lot of their economic development strategy to Department of Labor. And that has not been the role of Department of Labor, or I would say their expertise. And so one of the things that I'm concerned about is like, I can pass a policy or do an interim study that says, here's what affordable housing means. But the people at the state that will be responsible for that, the implementation and potential leadership is not there. And so I feel like for me, I'm trying to take a step back and say, like, again, like, who are the people that are really leading this and holding this? What policies are being pushed through? What is the governor trying to do? So I could be more strategic around when I do this. I have engaged with all the right stakeholders who may or may not own it, who can influence it or change it, so that in theory, it doesn't sound good, like, oh, I just have a definition. But in implementation, these people that are now going to hold this don't know or understand or even want to do it. And so I think it's a lot of that. And I think that's why it takes a little bit longer at the state level, because there's so many moving pieces that you have to try to align in order to try to really actualize the true intent of what you're trying to do. But I do agree that there should be a definition, and that there has to be one, so we can have a collective framework to work towards and work within together.
And from what I'm hearing you say, from kind of reading between the lines, despite, like you said, studies from Senator McKinney, as of right now, there is not one. There's not a hammered down definition.
There is, depending on like who's looking at it and what is the policy. Senator McKinney, do you want to talk about like your middle income workforce housing? Because I think that will show like a piece of like strategy around affordable housing.
Yeah, so we tried to get a bill passed last session on like defining affordable housing, and we tried to look at it from the perspective of not just the traditional 30% of like your income going to housing, but also accounting for utilities and those type of things. But we weren't able to get it passed. So this year we're working on a middle income workforce housing bill that deals with rent-to-own housing, and also just trying to allow for more people to get access to own homes in our communities. And the purpose of that, the reason why I did rent to own is because I think we have too many people that are renting in North Omaha, but we also have too many people who don't have access to be able to own homes. So really just trying to bridge the gap of too many renters and not enough people being able to own homes. So allowing for a rent to own option in the middle income workforce housing program, which isn't allowed now. Rental is in the rural, but I think allowing rental in the middle income workforce housing program, especially in the urban area like North Omaha, is a step too far. And that's what we're attempting to do. But as far as affordable housing, it's everybody got a different definition. I know Senator Dover here, he has a TIF bill, and I'm trying to get him to put in some language to define affordable housing a little better, and just because he's trying to pass a bill basically to say if you're going to blight an area, basically to say you could blight an area based on a lack of affordable housing. And my argument is if you're going to do that, you need to be able to guarantee that affordable housing is going to be in that blighted area. Because what happened in Omaha is the city of Omaha blighted all downtown.
Tiff Alley, we call it Tiff Alley.
But there's like no affordable housing downtown at all. But they blighted all downtown.
See how that works?
Affordable for who is always the question.
Exactly. And when you think about blight, it really, you like, like downtown ain't blighted, but blighted, like basically if you have 40-year-old buildings in an area, you could blight an area. So it's easy to blight an area. It's easy to get an area blighted just based on how it's defined in the statutes. And Senator Wayne tried to do extremely blighted, and they still kind of skirted the law in a way to still be able to blight it.
I was going to ask you, that was going to be my next question, was about TIF. Maybe I'll refer to you, Senator Spivey. Brieful in the chat, good morning, says TIF is forcing low-income people out of their neighborhoods. We need to encourage more neighborhoods to be mixed income so all poor people aren't delegated to one place in the city. How is TIF, what's going on with TIF, which a lot of our chat chimers seem to already really kind of know what TIF is and what's going on with it. How is it affecting this definition of affordable housing and affecting our neighborhoods?
Yeah, so I think the key issue with TIF is how we're using it, which Senator McKinney highlighted. Like, I think it's being exploited in the manner that it was not meant to be. And so there needs to continue to be some cleanup around language. And TIF really diverts taxes that are paid for that project so that they are able to pay off the debt and the capital for that. And so there's also a tax base that we're missing that can go to our public education, which I think is really important as we talk about cuts to specific and integral like state provided services, which public education is one. And so I think to Senator McKinney's point, like you go to these areas and it'll be like a hotel has not been used and closed down for 5 years. And they're like, this area is blighted. And you see all these different projects.
Look at all this.
You're like, what? Like, this is not like, this is, let me show you blighted, right?
I'm going to open up a blight hotel next.
Listen. And so I think, again, it's just how it's used because it is an effective tool for economic development. Like, I don't want to say that it's not. I think currently how it's being used specifically in the city of Omaha, it doesn't work. There was actually a town that came to, again, one of my hearings for appropriations, and they talked about within the city limits, they don't use TIF. And how they're able to look at economic development and leverage other tools like the Middle Income Housing Fund or this Rural Workforce Fund to build. And so I think some of our city leadership is lazy in that, and they're not strategic, and we don't have the right visionaries to be able to say, like, how do we effectively use TIF, but we are not dependent on TIF in the same way. And so I think that for us as city senators of Omaha, like that's a concern that we're going to have to hopefully work with new leadership at the city level, both city council and in the mayoral office, to talk about what does that really mean. And I can also say I have asked for in my district economic development plan because they have the urban core and nothing has been produced to me. So I have one TIF project which is a housing project off of 56 in Sorensen, which also has some issues because there's a ton of density. They did not talk to the current neighborhood residents in the same way. That neighborhood is losing its integrity. They cut down a ton of mature, beautiful trees that are no longer there. And again, there's no commerce around it. So you have all this housing density, but there's not a place to eat. There's not good grocery grocery stores. Like there's not a comprehensive plan. And so I have asked for that for my district, and there's not one. It's only for the urban core, which again, I also think is an issue.
Yeah, they have an urban core plan for basically downtown, and it don't include North Omaha. So there's no plan, economic development plan for North Omaha.
No, it's all happening around North Omaha.
More of the same. We're going to have to wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys coming on.
One thing really quick, Paul? I wanted to answer the question about some of the federal impacts, because I think this is just important to uplift. So what's happening at the federal level with the Trump administration, with executive orders, the pausing and restarting, we absolutely are going to see impacts in Nebraska. And if they change, for example, what they're proposing to do around our Medicaid formula, around how much the feds give us for Medicaid and then how much the state puts in, we will see an even larger deficit, and we will be in special session again this year to try to figure out how do we come up with that money. And we can't cut anything else. Like there's nothing else left to cut. We need innovative revenue, but we are seeing attempts to stop like medical marijuana and the tax, folks not looking at other things. And so while the federal level seems like really divisive and like polarizing and unstable, yes, and I try not to even like sit in that because I just only have a limited capacity, we will see major impacts on our federal programs that have what they call an FMAP, which is our federal match to the states, which Nebraska, about a third of our budget is from the feds. So that can impact like our environmental grants that we have. There has been some pauses with that. We just received $307 million last year for certain things. And so like, I just want people to understand that it will trickle down. And so these lawsuits and litigations and the pauses of what that administration is trying to do will have major impacts on some of our most vulnerable like neighbors and community members. And so we need to start building a contingency plan, and our colleagues are not holding our federal delegation accountable, and they're not trying to come up with a contingency plan. They don't want to rock the boat to the Trump administration, which to me is a problem, because our responsibility are to Nebraskans. That's who sent us to Lincoln. It's not to align to Trump administration just because that's their party. And so I just want to prepare people for that, that there is going to be implications. And I don't know what will happen once they come, because again, our colleagues are not thinking of contingency plans and are really sitting in what will happen.
Yeah.
If you want to go to prison.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you want to read if you want to read a report on the emails and just a response to the Trump cuts at the state level, Flatwater Free Press has a pretty good article about the real danger that we're facing in the state. I just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, Paul, wrap it up.
Yeah. Just want to say I appreciate you guys coming on for sure. We'll do this again Monday after next, and hear some more about that. If you guys have any questions, you know that these are two senators that do not mind you reaching out to them. Hit them on their emails and ask questions and have some conversation and be beyond this conversation as well. But we really appreciate you guys coming on live and answering questions and talking to the people, and can't wait to do it again soon.
Thank you for having us. My friend sent me a post, was like, girl, you about to be on here rapping? And I'm like, in higigh school, I was known.
Hold on.
Oh, but.
Okay, wait. Hold on.
Let me find out.
We are 3 minutes past our agreed upon time to stop. But if you got bars, let me tell you.
Listen, no. So me and my best friend Stink, we would drive to school every day and we would rap that. So I would need Stink here to be with me.
Okay.
We'll have to save that for another show. We'll have to save that.
She get her Issa Rae on as she drives.
Yeah. I see you and Skilo now going bar for bar. Yeah, I know what y'all be doing. I know.
What's up, brother McKinney? You got beats over there? Because we can put a whole
right. Make a little group.
What's up, man? Appreciate y'all, man.
Cypher.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. Appreciate y'all coming. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Peace and love.
Peace. That's what's up.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that's a great way to end the show. Yeah. Bars.
Appreciate everybody coming through. We're gonna go ahead and get. I know that's why.
Brother Johnny, come on, man.
Oh man,
come on.
We're gonna get it. It is called the Senator Cypher. We want
to
hear.
Hey.
And yeah, the weekly rap is going.
You know what I'm saying?
Meeting as well. So, yeah.
See what we doing.
I got my old school ready. I'm sucker MCs. I got my come on with it.
Hey, you see, I got my Cuban links, man. We only built for Cuban links, man.
Hey.
Come on.
Okay, Pepper.
Man,
Ladies and
we
gentlemen,
for the kids.
It's time to get out of here. Buddy, you got some last words for the people?
Man, this is what First Guy Omaha's about, man. Laughing, crying, getting mad, getting happy,
getting active.
And we appreciate y'all for going along this journey with us, man. Man, beautiful.
No
3 hours though. Y'all tripping.
But tune in, man. Tune in. Wednesday, special guest coming on as well. We're gonna be speaking to a whole lot of people running. The primaries are coming up April 1st. So we're gonna be hearing from it. It is the Ballot of the Bullet. It is the season. So we will be hearing from the people running for the city that's going to be the ones representing us. We need to know who they are. So get your questions ready for them, and we'll be talking about it. School board meeting tonight.
Okay.
Another opportunity for you to get in the street, get busy, be a part of it.
Get outside. Yeah, man. With that, man, we're going to get up out of here. Definitely big shout outs to the Senators, Ashley Spivey and Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on their name. Senator Cypher. It's a new thing, man. So definitely check in every other Monday. Yeah, we're going to be doing this more often. So appreciate everybody who brought questions. Let's get active.
Yep.
What they say, faith without works is dead.
Ooh, Bible quotes. Go on, buddy.
Okay. Let's get to work. So, with that, man, catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Man, thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you and hanging with us past agreed upon time to be on. We really appreciate it. Thanks for staying for the second hour, the special second hour that we'll do every other Monday with the Senators. Be sure to let people know. Tell a friend, spread the word. Senator Cypher goes down every other Monday. Definitely check in, get your questions ready. And we'll be able to hopefully be able to spend a little bit more time with them talking about some of the bills and stuff coming up that we can act on as well. Oppose or propose. Any of that. So shout out to all of you. Thank you for the people who are reoccurring members of the channel as well. The $10 people, $25 people, $50 people. If you have not already supported us, please consider doing so. Go to firstguyomaha.com, hit the join button, and become a reoccurring member of the channel as well. Also, while you're over there, check out our store. We definitely have some shirts available still. Getting low on the OG First Sky tees. But in limited sizes on the First Sky big logo tee as well. But we still have a lot of the public housing Fight the Tower shirts. Part of the proceeds of that goes to the Underwood Tenants Group, so we can help people in those towers have some better conditions and quit laying around and getting bed bugs in their CPAP machine and all the stuff that's happening over there.
Breathing in the mold.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. We trying to do something. So go to firstguyomaha.com, hit the store, and please support in that way as well. Meantime, between time, we're going to get out of here. Matthew Miller Chicken says, great show. Needed that 2 hours. Y'all wanted that 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Every other week we'll be doing it that way from now on, so we can make sure that the Senators got time with all the activity they got going on in the morning. As you can see, Senator Terrell McKinney got to drive all the way to Lincoln and go ahead and get into the office first before he
gotta get set up. So we appreciate them. Looking forward to doing that more. But as far as the 3 hours, one of the rules of show business, leaving one more. Hey.
With that, we're going to get out of here, you guys. So take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy this 80-degree weather we're going to have today, because I'm sure it'll probably snow tomorrow. So, no, not really. Shout out, Mike.
Hey, all that cursing. Cut that out.
Almost got through the show without a cuss word. Says
man.
See you guys later. Peace.
By the way, Vanguard